Hello, beautiful creatures of the world, and welcome back to Coffee with Kerri-Lynn. We have Canadian wildfire smoke. We have clouds in the sky. Sometimes it's raining. It's cool enough for a sweatshirt. We have construction across the street here in the far north of Maine, up along the Canadian border, in the crown of Maine. I hope everyone is having a nice, warm, sunny summer day, wherever you may be. I hope you're having a day filled with fabulosity and strong coffee. Because if you got that dirty, weak dishwater coffee in your cup, you go pitch that out right now. You are going to need a good strong cup of coffee to get through today's show as we once again revisit the Conjuring House. This is part 3. Ladies and gentlemen, guys and ghouls, Jaquline Nunez, owner of the Conjuring House, is giving us a franchise here on my channel. I know all you guys want Jaquline Nunez to be possessed by the home. I know a bunch of people want her to be possessed by the spirits that inhabit the home. But I stand firm in my conviction, ladies and gentlemen, beautiful creatures of the world. The only thing possessing Jaquline Nunez is greed. It is pride. It is vanity. It is fame and fortune. Hear me out. I know everybody's feathers are getting ruffled. But hear me out on this one. While Jaquline Nunez is posting to the Conjuring House Facebook page lunatic rants, rages, ravings, nonsense gobbledygook, crazy videos of nature talking to her and her trying to figure it out. She's talking about aliens. She's talking about NASA. She's talking about all kinds of wild and wacky things. Just go to the Conjuring House Facebook page and you too can see what I'm talking about. Maybe because Jaquline Nunez is also periodically altering those posts. She is editing those posts. She is adding things. She is subtracting things. The other day she was talking about wasps, meaning the Anglo-Saxon Puritans that came from England to Massachusetts. It's wild. It's wild. She is going after and attacking one of Rhode Island's most famous paranormal investigators, Jason Hawes. But not only is she attacking him and slandering him, she's also gone after his daughter, Satori Hawes, and her fiance, Cody, who also worked at the Conjuring House for Jaquline Nunez. You see, ladies and gentlemen, beautiful creatures of the world, we cannot forget Jaquline Nunez's roots. She is a real estate developer that lives in Boston, Massachusetts. She does not live on the property at the Conjuring House. She purchased the Conjuring House as a business. She purchased the Conjuring House from Jen and Corey Heinzen. I know I screwed up your last name and I do apologize, my fellow Mainer friends. They live somewhere in Maine. She purchased the Conjuring House from Jen and Corey in a very dirty, underhanded way. She is not only a real estate developer out of Boston, but she is a trained lawyer. Guys and ghouls, she went to law school. She does not practice law, but she has been trained in law. She saw an opportunity when the Conjuring House went up for sale in 2022. And she was determined, come hell or high water, that she would own the Conjuring House, no matter what it took. She needed the funding. So she put a lien on the Conjuring House so that Corey and Jen could not sell it to anybody else but her until she came up with the funding to proceed with the sale of just over $1.5 million. Now you see, Jaquline Nunez was probably sitting up in Boston. She saw the piece of real estate go up for sale, and she wanted a payday. She wanted to cash in on the fame and fortune of the Conjuring House, plain and simple. Jaquline Nunez wanted to bring in the bucks. And this is where the woman is crazy like a fox. I don't think that Jaquline Nunez factored in the fact that all the TV shows have been through the place. Economy is difficult. And it's not being as profitable as she wanted it to be. So, she purchased the house in 2022. You can look all this information up. They did a big article in the Providence Journal, so just go to projo.com, research the article, it'll come up for you. The entire interview that they did with her, and I think things started on an economic slide. And it was not until after the barn on the property burnt down in December 2023 that Jackie's shenanigans began. It was going to be an event venue, ladies and gentlemen. Beautiful creatures of the world. I guess you could go there, have a banquet, get married, get engaged, whatever it is. You can utilize the barn on the property and have an event. And the barn burnt down, and that was a business aspect off the table. Right then and there, as January and February proceeded, now she had a little problem with that barn, and I'm going to tell you what that problem is. That problem was Satori Hawes, the daughter of Jason Hawes, and her fiance Cody, who also worked at the Conjuring House for Jaquline Nunez, had property in that barn. Property, which turns out, although the barn was insured, the property inside of the barn, according to Jaquline Nunez, allegedly, because she's suing everybody these days, was not covered by her insurance. So as Satori and Cody kind of pressed for when they were going to get reimbursed for their losses, Jaquline Nunez started a campaign of wild texts, awful, disgusting, filthy texts, very abusive from boss to employee. And it wasn't until a few weeks ago that Satori's famous dad, Jason Hawes, stepped into the picture and started making videos and allowed everybody who had resigned from the Conjuring House, Jen and Corey, a few other people, Satori, Cody, had allowed them a platform to express what had been going on for over 6 months at the Conjuring House. It's all about money, ladies and gentlemen, beautiful creatures of the world. I don't think Jaquline thought that Jason was going to step into the fight, because she threatened them all. She threatened all the employees that resigned in May that if they opened their mouths, she would bury them in lawsuits. She told Satori and Cody that she would expose them as being frauds. They do this, apparently Satori's a human Ouija board, and they do this method of ghost investigating, and I'm not commenting on it because I'm not a debunker. I really don't care. All I'm going to tell you about the method is it's like watching paint dry. It's like nails on chalkboard. And I just can't get into their style, but that doesn't mean that it's not real. Okay? Everybody has a different style. Everybody who has any gifts that can connect with the world beyond the veil, everybody has their own style. And I absolutely do not disparage anybody for the way their gifts come out. How can I? Quite hypocritical, can it? So Jason Hawes got into the fight, which made the fight very, very interesting for Jaquline Nunez. And she started leaving the former employees alone, sort of, and went needling at the current employees, as well as at Jason Hawes. What better way to grab some fame and some fortune than to get vicious, ugly, and nasty with a famous paranormal investigator that has had his own TV show. That'll get you some headlines, won't it? On July 19th, she fired Brian Dansereau, claiming he stole $3,000 from the gift shop. But Jaquline does very dirty deeds, ladies and gentlemen, beautiful creatures of the world. She does very dirty deeds. She fired Brian Dansereau and told him the ghost of John Arnold, that used to be the Arnold estate before it became the Conjuring House. It was originally built by John Arnold, who died in 1839. John Arnold told her, in her head, the voices in her head are talking to her, girlfriend, don't tell people about the voices in your head. Keep your visions to yourself. John Arnold told Jaquline Nunez that Brian Dansereau had stole $3,000 from the gift shop, and therefore she fired Brian Dansereau. The reality is she owed Brian $9,000 in back pay, 5 weeks worth of back pay she owed him. She fired him, which tells me there's a lot of financial problems going on in Jackie's little empire that owns the venue. Brian Dansereau wasn't going to take this sitting down, so he went to WPRI TV, WPRI Channel 12, contacted Jaquline for a statement, and Jaquline absolutely told them that the ghost of John Arnold claimed, that was her evidence and proof, the ghost of John Arnold told her that Brian was stealing from the gift shop and stole a total of $3,000, and that she was holding his back pay as compensation. So she did some Jackie math there. And I said this in my other video. If you owe him $9,000 and you claim he stole $3,000, first of all, pay him the $9,000, then take him to court and sue him. Okay, that's a small claims deal, up to $6,000, you know. So you can actually pull him into small claims court, present your evidence. But Jaquline, you've got no freaking evidence that the man has stolen from you, so you can't go that route. Instead, you need to hold his $9,000. And if you're gonna hold it for compensation, you claim that John Arnold told you he only stole $3,000. Give the man $6,000. Let the man take you to court. Let Brian Dansereau take you to court for the other $3,000. But you can't do that because you got no evidence that he stole anything. Now come the unhinged rants and ravings on the Conjuring House Facebook page. And now we're up to the fact that the paranormal community actually has a hashtag called Boycott the Conjuring House. See, this whole thing went a little sly, a little sideways for her. But Jaqueline's not done yet, ladies and gentlemen. Oh, no, she ain't. Because in the midst of all the turmoil, in the midst of Jason Hawes making a video in July with everybody that used to work at the Conjuring House, John Huntington popped up. Now, who is John Huntington? John Huntington is a paranormal investigator, and he is also was friends with Jen and Corey, the owners of the Conjuring House. And in fact, on John Huntington's YouTube channel, on his video, he explained that during COVID, he stayed full-time at the Conjuring House. And the house made him very depressed. It was very oppressive on him, to the point where finally Corey and Jen made him leave the house, and their friendship was dissolved, skewed sideways, whatever. But you can go watch his videos about the Conjuring House and what it did to him emotionally and mentally while he lived there full time. Remember, Jackie lives in Boston. She doesn't live on the Conjuring House property at all. She has a little camper she stays in every now and again, but she lives in Boston. Well, he went on with his video to explain what the house did to him, how it oppressed him, how it depressed him, and his YouTube channel is Hauntington, John Huntington Paranormal. So you can go watch that video over there, where his video, unfortunately, the first few that he did about what might be happening to Jaquline Nunez, leveled it as the house was doing this to her, and people were really buying into that. He has since, this past week, made a video explaining he doesn't think it's the house. He thinks she's off her rocker. And this is all part of the plan, ladies and gentlemen, beautiful creatures of the world. This is going to get more crazy, more deranged, and more derailed before it gets better. Why is this? Because she's looking for a book deal, and she's looking for a Hollywood sequel to the Conjuring franchise. It's my prediction. Plain and simple. Jaquline Nunez is not a lunatic. She's not crazy as in batshite. Ladies and gentlemen, guys and ghouls, Jaquline Nunez is crazy as a fox, and she's looking at a money angle. How else are you going to get out of the debt? Now, probably a few more of these twists and turns. It's absolutely crazy. Go after a famous paranormal investigator. Go after his daughter. There's all kinds of fighting on the internet. You're getting publicity for a piece of property that isn't producing income, which you sunk so much money into. It's starting a buzz. It's starting a charge. You got other people saying, I lived there. The house oppressed and depressed me, which I am not in any way, shape, or form saying that it did not happen to John Huntington. I believe that houses do hold energy, and that energy is palpable. And when you are a sensitive person, you can feel things in a home. Lord knows I've lived in my share of wild homes. But ladies and gentlemen, every single antic that Jaquline Nunez does stays right beside of from keeping her committed involuntarily. It is so bad at this point that Jason Hawes has a no contact, no trespass order on Jaquline Nunez. He did that on August 9th, that was Friday, and when she was told that there was a no contact, no trespass order, she put up a scathing rant to the Boston Police Department, but she kept contacting Jason. She kept texting him, and he put it all up on his YouTube page. He put every single text. He's doing the video, and more texts were coming in. Just this side of an involuntary commitment. Ladies and gentlemen, beautiful creatures of the world, mark my words, Jaquline Nunez is going to dig herself out of the financial hole she put herself in. She will have a book deal like the parents, and she will have one more installment of the Conjuring Hollywood franchise like the Warrens, and she will dig herself out of all the nonsense. She may have to spend a few weeks, maybe a month in Butler. Just take a little respite there, and she'll come out all fresh and clean and new. She'll bankrupt her LLC, and then a book deal will come out of it, because she's going to claim the house, the spirits, made her do it. Thank you for joining me today and for listening to my little opinion about what is actually happening with the Conjuring House. Ladies and gentlemen, beautiful creatures of the world, be the kindness that you want to see in the world. And as always, Carpe Diem, because no one promised you a tomorrow.